I'm Gloria, and this is Open Minds Chat Show. I have a wonderful, wonderful, very, very special guest this evening. But before I get to him and his wonderful voice, which I just want to listen to, even with his crackling microphone, I just want to say, and I've got to keep saying it, on the Facebook, I have over 5,000 followers, likes, subscribed. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for supporting this show and sharing out all my amazing, I'm going to call them the gods, the guests that come on and their personal experiences. And I'm so overjoyed that it's doing okay and you all love it. And thank you, you open-minders. Have to keep thanking them, because without you, there's no me, because it's my reality and I've created it. So off we go. Now, good evening and welcome to you, wonderful, wonderful person, Greg of Open Loops Podcast. Welcome to the show. You're going to speak, Greg, or are you going to cry?
Gloria, thank you so much for being on the show. Oh, did I speak? Did it work? Oh,
it
gosh.
did. We've
hey,
got
everybody.
a bit of
What's up?
A bit of loop and a bit of crackling, but as I told you prior, it really doesn't matter. But welcome to the show, Greg.
Yes. Hey, thank you so much for having me on. This is awesome. I have no idea where this is going to go, but you don't either, apparently. So that's exciting.
I have no idea until the guests get on. So if you feel scared, you should be. No, you don't. So, Greg, on the back of what we've just, on the back of the conversation we've just had prior to going live, I want to start. I mean, first of all, where did you get that voice from?
Oh my gosh, that is a see, you already asked a question I wasn't expecting. That is such a good question. I would I don't know if there's really anybody in my family that I would say is known for having, like, a smooth, silky, wanna listen to this voice for hours. But I will say, and I'm curious what you pick up on from this, because I feel that the work I'm doing is, in a way, a continuation of his work. My grandfather, my mom's father, had a very distinctive voice. Very low, very distinctive. Just there was no question of who that voice was in any. I've never heard another voice like him ever since.
Well, it could be in the DNA, because I've had many guests on and I listened to many podcasts, and when I first heard your voice, I mean, you know me, I read frequency and voices, and I thought, my God, that voice, it was the voice. I mean, I'll share with you, way back in the day, I was approached, here we go, many years ago, I was approached by someone to, would I do work on a telephone line for sex? Because my voice, I could be very seductive because it's low, and I basically said, fuck off. And I said, this voice is worth more than that. So, but then obviously, decades later, here I am, and I have Inception podcast and Open Minds Chat Show. So here's the voice being used, I think, for something more, rewarding and benefiting to myself and others. So yeah, it's every so often you hear someone with a voice and it just resonates and you want to listen to it. So your voice is one of those for me. So now I will throw you with questions, because I don't want your ego, your mind to come in. Okay. So I'll just throw you in.
Oh, Jesus.
First. Yeah, you better.
Okay, great. Tear me. I'm ready.
You're ready. Right. You're ready to go down the rabbit hole on this one. So, Greg, where did your spiritual journey, what we call the spiritual journey, begin for you, and that has led you to Open Loops podcast? Is he thinking, or is he frozen again?
No, we're going. I know. Why is this connection? I've turned off everything. Okay. Where has my journey, my spiritual journey? You know, I didn't even. Yeah, that is such a good question. That is such a good question because I would have to say, if there's any, I never looked at it as a spiritual journey until rather recently. And I would say it would have to be my love of illusion, magic,
Mm.
conjuring. I mean, when I was 5, I saw a magic show at a birthday party for the first time. And till this day, I'm still buying books to learn card tricks. I mean, I'm not doing it all the time, but like, if there is a magic shop, if I was by, I'd go to, when I'm going to London next, I'm going to go to Davenport's. I mean, I know magic shops all over the world. I've been fascinated by it. And having that spark of curiosity about watching a magician do something and create wonder, I always kind of looked at it as like, oh, that's kind of like he's into this. I used to at least say like, oh, I'm into, the gimmicks and the secrets and all that stuff. But the more and more I go into.
Oh, it's frozen slightly again. Bear with us, guys. He's frozen.
Can you still hear me though?
I can still hear you. Don't worry. It's not an
yeah. Yeah, the more I've gone into it, I'm like, there has to be something there. That was the inkling of the curiosity. It's related to that. So yeah.
On the back of that, then I'm going to come back at you here. I find that fascinating because you're doing your show now, and the type of guests you have on. I mean, as you know, I come from what is labeled non-duality, the illusion, and coming into being the magnificent gods and goddesses we are that can do magic, that can do real magic. So I find that slightly amusing, tongue in cheek. I too, as a child, loved magic. I was fascinated by magic. And I used to imagine we used to have a show in the UK. Well, it wasn't the UK, it was an American show, and it was called Bewitched, where this woman would wiggle her nose and everything would be done. It was all magic. And I always believed I always believed we can do that. But I didn't have the concept of self-realization, of awakening, remembering who I am. I didn't have any of that, okay? But I loved the magic too. And I think you'll find that many of us out there that are on this timeline all loved magic. But it's like, I say, the groups that I run now, I say, we're going through the Harry Potter School of Magic now. Now you're going to start practicing your power of manifestation, of creation, from consciousness, because consciousness creates material. Yeah, you're going to start manifesting. So I find that fascinating. That's where you started off. So after that, what came next, Greg?
Very interesting. Well, it's I guess I would say that how do I put this? Let's see. I was doing it forever. And I mean I was doing it all through elementary school, started getting into acting, started getting into performing, spoke to me something about making people laugh. It hooked me. There was kind of like a power in it in a weird way. It was like, oh, this is a powerful spiritual force.
Yep, you're frozen slightly again. If it's the spirit world, guys, or the energy beings.
So yeah, what is going on, spirit world? I've never had this kind of.
Don't worry, it's the energies. It's just magnetic, just the energy. I'm going to come in on that. I too went to acting school. I was even in the theatre, believe it or not, and I loved performing. And now, obviously, in hindsight, which is the bitch, we come in here playing the director, the script writer, the actor, and all the rest to do this, yeah. But it's amazing when we look back on our individual journeys. We've been trained up. So the acting is what you're doing now, what I'm doing now. But the acting, many of us went into acting or music or arts, yeah. The creative area of the experience. So I played a prostitute on stage. I was really good, actually.
What is this theme of you as a sex worker in?
I know. Tell me about it. I was in a production of Half a Sixpence, and I was one of the prostitutes that was dressed as a Victorian prostitute. I so loved playing another role. In fact, when I was doing acting, it started, I had to pretend to be another identity. Now, how does this resonate with you? And as I was I found it very easy to pretend to be another identity. Now, the whole point of where we are on this journey is the idea we have about ourselves. The identity is not who we are. So can you see where I'm going with this, Greg?
Yeah, I mean, well, I think that actually hurt me in college at first. I mean, because I was kind of doing the play pretend thing in high school and just infusing all these different artistic influences. I mean, I love, oh gosh, I didn't even care about the great actors, Gloria. I like the comedians. I was watching.
I love.
I grew up with Groucho. I mean, Groucho Marx is like. I was like, how can I bring Groucho Marx into everything I do? How can I, I don't know, these people, the vaudevillians, and the old MGM musicals like that.
Charlie Chaplin was the one for me, and Buster Keaton.
Yes.
I mean, I found they were so risque. They were just so I don't give a flying fuck.
Yes.
They got away with it. And I think that's what I was the same as you. I thought it was hilarious, actually.
Oh, yeah. So I was bringing all this stuff. And then I went to college to serious acting school. Mm-hmm. And that was a mistake. My idea, or at least I all of a sudden lost myself early on in college. I actually, now I'm thinking about it. Yeah, that's part of the spiritual journey. Because at the Stella Adler Studio of Acting, which is it's a conservatory here in New York, but also if you're in the NYU undergraduate program, they have 6 or 7 studios that they assign you to as an undergrad. So they put me in that one. Stella Adler has the phrase, and this is interesting, related to what you're saying: growth as an actor is synonymous with growth as a human being. Yeah. And that was, I didn't realize it was a part of my spiritual journey, but I mean, how could it not be? That's exactly what it's the becoming. Yeah. So I denied myself that early on. I thought I needed to technically learn what good acting was. Mm-hmm. And I would have the teachers be like, yeah, what about you? Where are you coming through? Where's Greg? One teacher said to me, and it still kind of bothers me, but I think about it in everything I do now. He goes, you are deeply talented, Greg, but you're more interesting as a person than you are as an actor, and you haven't figured out how to bridge it yet. And that was like a problem I just sat with for years and years, and still in a way I'm like, how do I bring myself through? And I think there are a lot of factors there, possibly even knowing who.
Greg, you're doing it now. You should win.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
We should all have Oscars. I know I've got an Oscar for the best. I played the best victim mode ever. I won BAFTAs. When Bobby, I was there. I mean, it's about the becoming. You've raised it, but not until we look back, do we see and it was we've written and directed and produced this script. And I love hearing different experiences of beings, because it just so resonates that all the skill sets you were learning along the way, even when it was time out in the teenage years to go and do sex, drugs, and rock and roll. I did not do rock and roll, absolutely hate it. And I didn't do drugs. And I
Right.
won't answer the other one. It's no comment for the other one. So it's, we
Right.
go out and we just, but then we come back in again. So, I love the fact how the magic was already there, because you are a magical being now. The acting, you were, I find it ironic now, the likes of me and you went to drama school to learn acting when we're the best fucking actors on the planet. Come on. This is the joke. This is the
Yes.
play of the gods. This is the humor, and this is the way we need to look at it. So, but I want to carry on.
Yeah.
See, it's easy with me, isn't it, Greg? It's fine.
No, it's good. It's good. Yeah, keep me going. I love it. I'm having a blast.
Yeah, you love it. Right. Okay. So now we're going to move on. So we went through acting school. Okay. What's next?
The struggle. Yeah. Because I didn't want to do that. The work did not, the craft didn't make it. Every teacher says this in acting school. They say, if you can do anything else, do it. And that's kind of how I felt. I went, well, yeah, but I don't want to do this office stuff. I don't want to go into a regular job, but I don't necessarily want to do this craft of acting either. But I will say, Gloria, that I was, and I still took some acting work, and I still did. One of the things is that I started doing improv. So I started leaning much more into improv comedy, and even becoming an assistant director for the New York City Murder Mystery Company, which I still do shows for, actually. I still perform. The game wasn't as interesting to me. Like, I didn't really care about, and if someone's watching this right now, for the company on Facebook, sorry guys, I'm not invested in the game piece of it, even though I make sure that the audience knows it, because you do have to, you can't just be a selfish performer. You still have to communicate the story. Yeah. But my priority was figuring out how to work a room. That's what I was interested in. How do I get on a microphone and entertain a group of people? Yeah. That's what I wanted to do. So I did do that. That was my day job. But I have to tell you, even while that was going on, there felt like there was something missing in me. There's something that isn't fully realized, and it's that.
Is it like?
It's like that magical.
Yeah, I can only go from my own personal
thing
experience.
That I was
it like
avoiding at that point?
Yeah, something was missing. Something was still missing. It's like I remember. When I went into nursing, I'm going to be a nurse. And you went, no, something's missing. And then I'm going to go into university and go and work youth offending. Yeah, got it. Something's missing. And then I'm going to go and do, criminology and psychology. And no, something's missing. And each time I would plateau with something, but I wasn't quite comfortable in it until eventually I ended up doing my shows and podcasts like yourself. Was it I'm losing Greg. He's got a very bad internet connection. While we're waiting for Greg to return, hi Donna, Lady D Barnard, and hi Rosie on the ferry. Rosie's on the ferry. Are you back?
Yeah, I'm here. I've been here. But it's so weird. These spirits.
Did you hear what? Did you catch what I said?
Yeah, your plateau, your career plateau. Is it something like that?
And something's missing, and you're in it, and you say, okay, I'll do it, but something, is there more? There's more.
Yeah. And come to think of it, I didn't even, the hindsight thing. I mean, while I was going to do these shows, Gloria, while I was driving long distances to go to different hotels and houses and corporate events, all over the northeastern side of the U.S., pretty much, like very, very much all over. My conversations in the car.
Bosun again. Spirit world,
We're
would you stop?
I mean, we're talking. We're always. We were talking. I mean, I was going into deep conversations in these cars. I
Mm,
was, and conspiracy was something that
mm.
came up a lot. I mean, one of the ways I connected with some of these people is I'd be like, what are some of your favorite conspiracy theories?
Yeah, yeah,
Oh, yeah, let's go. Ever heard about this New World Order? The Illuminati. Like those were the conversations that I
yes,
craved,
yeah.
and I
I mean,
started loving
everyone did.
doing.
Greg, honest, myself, way back in the day. I mean, I never related to Alex Jones because he shouted, and I'm a sensitive, so I don't like it too loud.
Right.
I hit David Icke, yeah, which I recently met in person on the Isle of Wight a couple of months
Oh,
ago,
very nice.
and all of us, most of us go down the conspiracy. It's the same. It's like the same template, but slightly different. I was hit with, and I'd go in there, and then I start saying, well, for me at that point, I got to ask you about that. When you were going through the conspiracy theories, them bad, us good, I would listen and see it as a truth. However, I didn't sort of like protest with them. I didn't have that resistance. I allowed it. I observed it, but at that point there was no self-realization. I didn't know who the fuck I was at that time. I was just this confused.com on the path. Did you find that as well with the
Yeah.
conspiracies?
Yeah. I mean, I definitely was not, and probably maybe even still in this way in a lot of ways, though. I think what I'm more upset about is that people completely dismiss
Hmm.
other people's ways of thinking without
Hmm.
looking that sitting down, like the judgment piece is the
Yeah,
piece that I'm
that's
like, that's where I'm like fighting for, I'm like, okay, yeah, tell me this perspective, tell me this,
yeah,
at least give it to me, and then let's go in. But back then, yeah, similar to you, I was watching these things. They're pieces of entertainment. Sometimes they still are.
yes,
But
yes,
yeah, it was like, let's put on this hat for a little bit and see what
mm,
the world looks like.
yeah,
With this, this miracle, or put on, yeah, let's go out and experience a different life. Yeah, it's I I was very entertained by them. Also, it did spark, perhaps similar to the magic in some
yeah,
ways, kind of that similar kind of feeling that, like,
yeah,
oh, the world's an illusion. There's something going on in the background
yeah.
here. What are the secrets that I don't know yet? That's
Absolutely.
it.
That's what I took from conspiracy theories. I mean, today I'm neutral. If they want to, anyone wants to talk about that, that's fine. But I don't have any response or reaction to it. I'm neutral because they're they're at their lay-by on their journey, doing what they're doing. I was there before. I'm not ahead of them. No one's behind me, but so I don't have any resistance at all. I listen because, as you just mentioned, within these conspiracy theories are gems, diamonds that can shift like a paradigm shift your consciousness, vroom, and you're off again. So, and I think they're still relevant. So, I think it's like we're going through, we could say, illusionary hard school of knocks. We're learning. This class, that class, that class, that class, and we will all graduate in the end. It's already done, by the way.
Good.
But yeah, good. He says good. But it's so I do. I hear people. I do say to when I'm talking to someone, don't listen, but don't get involved. What you put your attention on, you create. There's your reality. So if you go too deep into anything, you've put your
Mm,
attention on. Whatever you put your attention on, if you keep putting your attention on it, that becomes your reality. Then comes up. You're not perceiving as the observer and being non-judgmental. So, but to look at it, take from it what resonates and move on. And it really
Yes.
opened the door for me to, like you, about David Icke. It was the illusion. And he brought into my reality, my consciousness, free will. What is that? Free choice. This thing about, so, you know, I'm not saying I, you know, in totality, I agree with everything you said, but it doesn't matter. I don't have to agree or disagree. But it was scripting in David Icke on my journey for me to take that gem from him. Does that resonate with you at all? That sort of learning as we go along, even if we just pull away from it, we take something. No experience is wasted. Life happens for you, not to you. So that's how I perceive this journey. What about you?
Yeah, no. I definitely resonate with that. I mean, it's that point about experience is very interesting, and it's. I know this is my kind of rational mind, perhaps getting in the way, but sometimes I'm like, okay, I can read. Like I did this to educate myself. So I read one of David Icke's books recently because I never actually read one of his books before. And I said, yeah, I know everybody thinks it's lizard people and all. Yeah, whatever. I get it. I get that there's some extreme statements. And also I sometimes think that they're metaphors and it works on a perhaps a defense of him. I'm a little agnostic about this, but one could argue that a defense of David Icke saying that there's an elite class of people that are lizards could be a metaphor designed to get you to expand your consciousness. One could argue that. One could
argue that. I wouldn't argue it. I would say, yeah, I'm up for that. I agree. I mean, for me, you know, I now coming from non-duality, I realize what he was trying to convey. And how can I put this? I mean, if someone had told me, like, if you go back to when I was a child, if someone told me all this stuff now, I wouldn't be able to compute it. I wouldn't be mature enough experientially to understand. So they would have to tell me in more like a baby language, basic, to get me curious. Yeah, because I wouldn't be able to. And so I'm using that as an analogy, not the best one I've ever come up with, but it's just coming in. So when, you know, when I first heard him talk about lizard people, whatever, I'm an ET contactee, so I've had them experiences. So I could connect. He's talking about these beings, and we live in a 3D polarity. There's good and bad. We need what we call bad. It's not really bad, you know, as a polarity to have the experience. So I understood, like you did, there was an esoteric, but he had to speak for the masses, so to speak, just to wake people, wake the fuck up. So shocker with lizard people. I'm going to go and investigate. You're quite right. There's a great observation, Greg.
Right.
It did the trick. And then people went into David Icke, and then everyone went off on their path.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I was going to say. What was interesting about the book was that he spends thousands of pages going into, I mean, the best of conspiracy stuff. We're talking, you know, who were the Khazarians and what happened on 9/11 and, you know, who's in charge of the Federal Reserve and all the stuff about AI and all this stuff. And then right at the end, he gives you that little, and this is all because you're a reflection of the one consciousness and there is an illusion. And so it's like, so I'm sitting here now, look, from a distance, I'm going, why not just, I mean, I've read Alan Watts. I've read he's the best, right? Like I've read Eckhart Tolle. I've read all this stuff about the holographic mind. Why do I need to go through this deep web conspiracy funnel to get to this like 5 pages at the end? But here's what I will say to that. I'm not sure necessarily if I'm supposed to consciously understand it fully either. Like maybe there is, by giving you so much stuff about like everything they've told you is a lie, that
Yes.
allows the and I can be so much more than I ever dreamed of possible to rise
Yes.
up in a way that just he could
Yes.
never explain in words.
No.
So it's interesting.
I mean, when I met him a couple of months ago in person on the Isle of Wight, for to do photos and that, and I said to him, "Do you know the first time I saw you?" He said, "When was that?" I said, "He was on a UK show, the Terry Wogan show, and you turned round and you told Terry Wogan you were Jesus, and I remember that you were a God." And I remember it without even responding, and I remember going, he's God, he's a God, he's a God. And then it went as normal. It just but I never, it came back when I met him in person. And now I totally understand in the context what he means. We're all gods. We're all Christ consciousness. Give it any label you choose to have it. So yeah, it was, we have digressed slightly, but I think we've had to go into this because the conspiracy theories are part of all of our journeys, because they're there. Consciousness is bringing them to shock the identity, the ego. Yeah, like not until David Icke, way back in the day, did I realize I had a free choice. I could say no.
Yeah.
I mean, hello, how many people I've met say, yeah, I have free will, and I go deconstruct that with them. I didn't realize I had a choice. And I'm going, yeah, been there, done it. So these, we're going to find we've all had very similar journeys on this. And to me, David Icke, the being, I have to say again, when he put his arm around me for the photo shoot, I had goosebumps all over. The energy coming off this being was overpowering. A beautiful soul, a beautiful God. Everyone is, but I must say
that's very interesting. Yeah. No, he feels different than Alex Jones. He feels different than a lot of the certainly like the Patriots, the white hat Q-toting loving Patriots. I mean, they're like,
I mean, he's normal. We saw him in Rosie. We were sitting outside the co-op on the Isle of Wight having a cigarette and a break, and he just walked past us normal. We went into the co-op, did his shopping. He's got no airs and graces about him. There's no illusions about him, and he's stuck. It's his truth, and he's stuck with that truth to this day. And when he gets new truths, he brings them in and said, this, I've got this. And so he's a good example for all of our individual journeys, different to David's, but that we stay with our truth and expand our consciousness on that. And when new information comes in, we go, I never looked at it that way before. We eat humble pie, so to speak, and we follow that. So, but I want to jump away from David Icke now. I want to move on because I've seen the influences. I mean, I'm so interested in what influenced you to do your show Open Loops. And this is why I'm taking you down this back road, because it feeds into who you are, the being, and your show. I mean, it's like this is where you were heading, and these are the roads that took you there, the different paths. So after that era, what comes next?
Well, one of the things that I also want to mention here that I think is super, I mean, there's just no question that this is part of the journey, is hypnosis.
Yeah.
That was so I'm still struggling to figure out what I want to do. I'm doing these acting gigs, whatnot, but in the background, in order to fulfill this kind of missing piece that I'm feeling, I'm looking at my hobbies. I'm kind of spending a lot of time in my hobbies and going like, well, I do like magic still. You know who I love is that Darren Brown guy. That guy is awesome. Wow, he's one of the best mentalists and hypnotists in England. I want to watch him. I want to learn. And I started going into mentalism and learning about mind reading, which was something that was on the periphery, but I delved into it. And then hypnosis. Now I had seen a hypnotist in high school and was already fascinated. I was always fascinated by hypnosis growing up, did a little bit of it, learned like a basic classic relax kind of induction over and relax and go do it. Was doing that and was doing it for fun at parties, but I wanted to get into, I really wanted to understand it. Like I had no idea. Yeah.
Let me jump in there before you go on. That so resonates with me because I actually do have a sister-in-law as a hypnotherapist, actually. I too became very interested. Now, first of all, when I got interested in it, I remember watching the TV shows in the UK. I don't know who the hell it was, but they'd make people cluck like chickens and things like that. I wasn't laughing. There was me, very curious. How are you controlling the mind? Now, because later on it became apparent that when, I went down the path I did, like the illusion and how the subliminal messages and how basically this planet is in the Stockholm syndrome. It's all hypnotism. But I was curious, how could you do that? And that's got me interested in hypnotherapy. That is how easy it was to affect someone's belief systems.
Yes.
And then I thought, if it was that simple, how the fuck do I know the belief systems that are given to me are true?
That's a great point. Yep.
Do you see what I'm saying on that one?
Oh, I do. I'm not sure I even thought about it at that level. Well, probably did. No, I do know what you mean. I know what you mean. It took a long time for me to, and even still today, realize how little of my thoughts are actually mine. That's still like, I think that's kind of the I'm still in that part of the journey, though I'm definitely waking up to more and more of things where I'm going, whoa, what's that? Who'd that come from?
I mean, it is that's what I'm saying, the interest in hypnotherapy, and same here. And if you do look at it in this context, it's just a theory with me. It's how I function in my truth. It's that easy. I also got that from acting, playing a part in a role. It was quite easy after a bit of repetition to become that. And so that's where the paradigm shifts. They were little breadcrumbs all through my experience of boom, look, opening up, which is the becoming of the being. You're starting to realize how. So when you get a conspiracy theorist, what we call, let's call him a truth teller, like David Icke, saying, subliminal messages, they're doing this, they're doing that. You're more open to listen and take from him. Yeah. But that actually works with my own truth about how that you're hypnotized, because you're witnessing people being hypnotized. It's simple. Or people acting, so to speak. So I think you're going to see that me and you had a very, very similar journey.
I feel it, Gloria. Yes.
Yeah. Very, very similar journey. And I find it so fascinating because it's like you're experiencing me in a different consciousness, and I'm not fully aware of it yet. So I know. Does that make sense to you? If you come.
It does. There's like the interesting thought is like, Greg, when are you just gonna own your spiritual gift? That's like kind of the question coming through to me right now.
Yes.
And I think that this rational skeptic ego Greg is like, no, people shouldn't be charging for psychic readings. There's something wrong there still. But I'm like, but I don't know why I hold on to that so much.
I mean, we've all got our idiot. The whole point is we are. I'm a great reader of Seth, so and I've been trying to use his terminologies to drop the labels that we use, which is spellcasting labels. Energy personalities. We're all energy personalities. That's coming from Seth 101, and we've all got this and idiosyncrasies and ways we are, and little bits along the way which makes us unique. But it's about being you, becoming you. Even you call yourself my ego, that is you. That is the divine. That is who you are. You're aware of it. That's all you need to be aware. Trust me, I can become an arsehole at any time. I have fun being an arsehole.
Right.
It's not love and light. I'm playing the role. I'm playing with the other gods. I'm having fun. I can do serious. No, I can't.
Right. No, I'm totally with you there. That was something that took a while once I started hearing people being okay to like, dish it out in spiritual sessions and spiritual seminars, people that just were much more down to earth. And then you'd start reading things and they're like, oh, by the way, those people that are all like, oh, angels, blah, 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 blah. Like those people don't have it realized. It's like, it's the person that's going to rip you. It's going to bust your balls. Like that person's probably more spiritually aligned than the guru. So I'm with you. I feel that.
Yeah, I mean, way back in the day, I bumped into some love and lighters, and I don't judge them. It's their path. They choose to experience reality. It's just like, I don't want to watch that film. I want to watch this film.
Right.
Okay?
Oh, yeah.
I'm on this timeline and I want to watch this film. So there's no judgment here. It's just the way I am. So now we've gone past that. I want to shift you even further. What was the major experience that led you towards creating and bringing that beautiful, sexy, husky voice into Open Loops podcast?
Yeah, so this is...
Watch him depress the words, baby. Yeah, go.
The pandemic, the time when I was getting paid to sit at home and do nothing was a period of time where I truly was at my wit's end in terms of what the heck am I supposed to do, because I'm making more money sitting around doing nothing, and I don't know what to be like. This is an opportunity for me to technically be doing. It is the Alan Watts question. If money wasn't an object, what would you be doing? And I'm sitting going, well, yes, the world is shut down. So on one level, I can't perform like I used to. But even still, if I was deeply compelled to perform, I might start looking for auditions. I might start like getting ready for when the world opens back up. And I still don't want to do that until I met a coach. I will say, I want to give the guy credit. Mr. Spencer Burnett. Love this guy. I don't know if he's doing as much of the kind of one-on-one work that he is anymore, but he was a productivity coach that created a modality called precise language, which is based on a lot of he claims it doesn't cut. He channeled it like it's from his mind. He's not like an avid, self-help, like, grabbing things from different people. And like he did kind of come up with it. And the best way I can explain it is it's kind of like a combination of the meta model from neurolinguistic programming, if anybody knows that out there, and just like fifth dimensional. He breaks down consciousness into the 5D, and he actually has been able to translate that into a productivity system that allows you to go from here's what I want to manifest in my head to, and here's actually a practical way, step by step, to create something, which I loved. And he said to me, he was like, dude, what's your North Star? And I said, well, I guess if I could get paid to learn, or if I could just learn for the rest of my life, like, how do I make a living learning? And then he's like, okay, dude, podcast, voice, you've got the voice, you've got the interests, you've got the people, or you've got people you could talk to, you've got these ideas. I want to work with you so that you can take all this awesome stuff that you're like learning about and share it with others through your unique perspective. Started working with him June of 2020. That really was the impetus, and it's evolved a lot since. But he definitely, sometimes once in a while you get a co-creator, right? Someone that co-creates with you.
I'm telling you, I'm coming back at you. At Christmas 2020, just before UK lockdown in the March, I had what I deemed a most massive contact experience, more real than reality, by Arcturians, 2 of them.
Wow.
And it was a normal thing. They were there, then blackout. It's a normal thing for me. Anyway, that was that. I get up the next day and I went, oh, they've been again. It's just normal whole of my life. It wasn't long after that. I used to have still, even through self-realization, I still had a bit of body dysmorphia. Okay. I don't like photographs. And it was still there. And I knew I had to work on it, but no big fucking deal. Do you know what I mean? I knew who I was. And then I remember one day I was talking to a friend and I said, my mouth opened just before the lockdown come. I'm going to do a live chat show. And as I'm saying it, the identity's going, who the fuck's idea was that?
Right.
And next thing I know, I'm up and running. Still had, so, my guru, my co-creator was Arcturians. It doesn't make any difference where they're coming from. And that was in the lockdown.
That's fascinating.
Yeah, that's when I started. I started Open Minds first, Open Minds Chat Show. And then later on in the year, Inception podcast. So again, I resonate with you.
And I'll give Spencer credit, but I also have to tell you, it definitely was an idea that came to me a few weeks before too. And it took, I kind of was like, yeah, maybe I can do a podcast about stuff I like, but I don't know if I really want to do this, like, and all the battles in the mind. But then it took Spencer to really be like, whoa, no, here's a thing I think you should do. And I was like, oh my gosh, he said this thing that I like was it was a phase. I had one day where I was just like fantasizing about doing a podcast, and then he saw it and said, no, this is what you're doing. So
it's
it was
very
interesting.
similar. I mean, I had, when I was in my career, I used to work in child protection and domestic violence, and in there, way back 2012, I think, somewhere, or 15, somewhere, I got hold of Adobe Pro. And I created an hour's documentary, did everything myself, nothing by anyone else, and created a documentary. It was for work colleagues on child abuse and domestic violence. I got actors in, I did everything, the special effects. I learned off YouTube how to do it, and it was still on YouTube to this day. And I do remember, you've just reminded me, before the idea come in, because I didn't even know what a fucking podcast was. I knew what a show was, but I'd never heard of a podcast. That comes later. I said, I was thinking about, and I was rewatching this documentary I'd made. I was so proud of myself. I did this documentary, I did all the graphics, everything. And it's just fantastic. And being an artist, as you can see behind me, I have no problem creating things. So it's simple. But I kept thinking, oh, I'd love to do another documentary. That was what I was thinking. I'd love to get back into media. I'd love to get, and then that went away, and then I started the show. So I resonate with. It's like seeds have gone in from somewhere. I mean, the guy that spoke to you, obviously, you know, he's getting the information from somewhere. Like we all from call it our higher selves. It really doesn't matter what you call it.
Yeah.
And it's the same co-creating, no matter who you're with. And but it's like the seed was always there, and it just needed another co-creator to activate it, so to speak.
Yes, it does. And you know what? I forget about this. I don't really talk about it publicly that often, but it's so fascinating to find like things you love doing and then going backwards and going, oh, wait a minute. One of the things my folks just had last year, about a year ago, my parents did an estate sale for all our childhood home, selling all the toys, getting rid of all this stuff. But the thing that I held on to, that I still have here in my bedroom somewhere under the bed, is a tape recorder with a microphone, red microphone sticking up from it. And I just had hundreds of hours, I think, of me recording and doing voices and talking on tape cassette when I was a kid. And it's like, oh, wait a minute.
You were practicing to come into being now. You were practicing magic, yeah, the illusion. You were practicing doing what you're doing now, the show. You were practicing acting, because that's what you're doing now. You're acting as Greg. You're playing the role as Greg now, who's the, you know, the producer and host of Open Loops podcast. We not until hindsight or till the expansion comes enough till you realize, you know, people say, oh, I wouldn't be the person if I haven't had them experiences. I'm not there no more. I now see it. Oh, I practiced that. Come on, you found the tape recorder. You were getting ready for, 2020, unbeknown to you, your identity. It was unconscious. You were practicing. I do recall when I was younger, this is not a hairbrush, but say it was, I would stand in the mirror and I'd be talking. Okay?
Yeah.
And I'd be telling everyone, especially because I used to see dead people. They don't like that word, but I have to use it. And I'd be talking to the mirror, going, and now today I want to, and I would be doing this hairbrush as a child. And it's not until you reflection is really good, just to reflect on your experiences. And I tell you also why that's good. A lot of healing comes because through the reflection, if you say, how the fuck did I get here? I mean, I'm running two platforms now. Yeah. What happened? But if you go on reflection, like we're doing now, we're reflecting. And what that does, a healing comes with it, because your perception, if you change the way you look at things, Wayne Dyer 101, the things you look at change. Your perception shifts. You can change your so-called past because it doesn't exist. It's on an alternative timeline. At the moment, it's there. And as you relook at it with different eyes, an inner eye, any trauma or disease or disharmony there, as you relook at it, you've changed it on that timeline already. There's the healing coming back into the one. Does that make sense to you at all?
Yeah, it does. It does. Yeah. And the one thing I could think of was kind of, how, and I think this is where I get so tripped up. It's then how does one, and maybe this is the wrong question, but it's a question that I ask a lot of guests. It's a question I pose to the public a lot. And I ask myself, which is like, moving forward, how do you actually, what is the forward direction? Because I can look back and I can see things, but given that I'm a world of experiences, how much planning do I put into moving forward versus could I just trust that following where I want to go in the present and being present with it will get me there?
Let me just highlight something. If you go way back, you did no planning at all, sweetie.
Yeah.
And you got where you are. So it follows you don't need any planning.
Right.
Do you get it? You didn't
Yes.
plan. When you reflect back from the days from playing magic and in your microphone, you didn't plan the next couple of decades, did you?
That's right.
You flowed. So that question, you need to throw that out now.
Yeah. I think more and more, I mean, even as of this week, I'm like, nah, just keep doing things.
Yeah. You were always just being you. So that's a mind question. Throw that out. We don't need that no more. Just be you.
Yes.
Just be who you are. With all your fuck ups and everything, be you. Because you never planned consciously that journey to get to here, did you? So it follows. Don't worry about it. You've got this. It's all good. The ending's good too. You've got it. I just love it. I mean, what really gets me, we got me and you, about the voice. I just love it. It's like, when I tell you something about your voice, when I heard your voice, I thought, what the fuck? This voice, and it was nice to talk. It is nice in present terms to talk to another being that has a voice. And I don't know where it comes from, but I love talking with you. When I hear your voice, it just opens me up. It just resonates. Because and why I'm not digressing. I'm leading somewhere. I always have an agenda. Is because as a medium, I'm a rescue medium, not a platform medium, and whatever, I've always worked on frequency, touching the magnetic field, and I read on frequency. So I read voices. I read the vibe. I don't read, it's not the personality, it's the frequency coming from the being. And it just happens. And when I heard your voice, I was like, fuck, I've never heard a frequency like this before. And then, when I said to you, will you come on the show? And you said, I was going to invite you on my show. And I said, no, come on my show. Come on, me first. And, I knew. And then when I tell the audience, you need to go and listen and watch Greg's podcast. I went and did like a stalking event of your podcast, of your guests. I wasn't interested in your guests. I was interested in you being you. No planning, no nothing. And we don't know what our guests are going to come out with. They could come out with a load of bollocks. We don't know. Do you know what I mean? But the way I was right to home in on the frequency of your voice. And where I'm leading this is to, in the groups that I teach, I always say, if you could hear your own frequency, your own vibration, because what you're putting out, even without words, is affecting the collective consciousness all around you. Yeah.
Wow.
And someone like you that has this powerful frequency, and at a certain octaves here and there, you're also wording, and I call it spell casting. When we speak, we spell cast. That's what David Icke was talking about, how you're hypnotized and subliminal messages. You've got the double, you've got the voice. And as you express your truth, because you are so open and non-judgmental, it's like a fucking power. It's like a
wow.
And I think it's awesome, the frequency that comes off from you.
Whoa. That that means a lot. It really does. I'm like, whoa, what do I? And of course, the brain goes, what do I do with that? What do I do
nothing.
with that?
Don't do nothing. Just don't do anything. Just acknowledge the experience. That's who you are. Do not self-criticize. Do not self-judge. Yeah. Just allow it. Just allow it to go through. That's the being you are. We go around saying we're spiritual beings having a human experience. Well, I like to say we're energy personalities. now. I want to take it an octave higher. And if we knew who we are, we all say, if you knew who we were, we can do this, we can do that, we can, you know, why do we limit ourselves? And this is what is needed now, to stop limiting ourselves. So if someone comes up and says, Greg, I am recognizing in you this divine being, godlike, powerful, high frequency, compassionate, loving, kind, empathic, energy personality, you need to take it. I'm reflecting you. But your mind will come in and try to limit you, the ego, which is not your enemy, by the way. It's not. Just let it chat. Let it chat shit. Mine always chat shit, so don't worry. It'll never go. And just accept it and let it go. That's
Yeah.
who you are in the show. That's what you've been practicing for the life, the experience you've had so far. That's for this moment now, to know who you are.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Yeah. Yeah, that is that's really beautiful. Yeah.
It's a lot to digest. I know.
No, it's awesome. I mean, it's expansive. I just love it. It feels something's expanding, you know. I mean, it's just like,
it is expanding. And every time I've watched you on your shows, your consciousness, and I see it in your guests, you expand them and they expand you. That's what we're doing. I'm expanding mine by talking to you, and you're expanding yours by talking to me. We are the gods. We are playing this game. We are now supposed to have the fun. It's the fun of human experience. And it's about helping, co-creating to remember. And this is, before it was an individual pathway. Yeah. Do yourself first. You can't change the world till you change yourself. That's old school now. It's a bit too late now, because it's just shit's about to hit the fan, but in a positive way.
yeah.
This is what we're doing now. And these are the conversations that are coming out now. Being to being. So how's your role been? I've just done it with you, unbeknown to you. I'm saying to you, hey, God, what part did you play? You've just told me I played the part of Greg. I did this, I did that, I did this, I did that, I did this. I go, yeah. I did that too. Wasn't it fun, Greg?
Yes. No, this is wow. I mean, I feel like I have a new understanding of, or at least something fit together in a way that hadn't before, which is this notion of when you are, by bringing me and by bringing everyone else back to the moment and that possibility point that, some people call it 0 point. Some people call it the now, whatever it is, that place where anything is possible. That is truly the place of that's like the highest spiritual place you can be, because then it's like, and now we're at creation. What can you create? What could I create in this next moment?
Yes, exactly. I mean, that's where it comes. Before, we were unconscious creators. We had no idea who we were. And if we did, we more likely would have blown up the fucking planet by now. We nearly did it, okay?
Yes.
And if we were kids with a nuclear bomb, come on. But when you come to this part of the journey, like you've just said, what do I create now? Now you're becoming consciously aware. Yeah. And with that comes responsibility. Then there's no excuse. Your ego. You can't go back, by the way, when you get there. You don't even think to get it wrong. Comes responsibility. Then this is where the real, not the illusionary, the real, even though the being is still, the identity is still an illusion in itself, we're playing the role, the real law of attraction comes in. Because I'm telling you, when you get to, call it the 0 point, whatever, it doesn't matter, they're just words. When you think it, every time you have a thought about something, you put your attention, it's created in another timeline. Be careful. Say, for example, you're thinking, you're manifesting, you're that powerful. It's on multiple timelines going. This is how you can change the timelines simultaneously. And this one, when you have a realization, even a teeny weeny, you need to, before you speak, when the thought comes in, be careful what you put your attention on. You will manifest it spontaneously. You may not physically see from consciousness creates matter. It takes whatever period it does to do that, but you've got to be cautious with this. So
Yes.
you're touching on your 0 point. Your creation, you'll have. All right, let me try this way. Do you recognize when you get like ego thought, and then all of a sudden you get an idea come in your head? Like, what the fuck did that? Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So not all thoughts are bad, by the way, guys. So there are ones that come in that you could say is a grace of God or divinely inspired or your higher self. Them ones will come in as normal because the ego with thought mind will blend in. But it's the other ones you've got to watch. So don't so much say, what shall I create? That's the mind now coming in. Do what you've just done for how many decades you've been here. Be spontaneous. You will naturally create, your vibration will naturally pull towards you and manifest like-minded creator gods who want to play this game with you. You have no need to do anything. You just need to watch the thoughts that come in. How does that resonate with you?
Whoa, I'm loving this. Yeah, yeah, no, it's very powerful. I mean, it's yeah, I guess all those metaphors of, I mean, people always talk about wave function and how, I think Alan Watts in the beginning of The Wisdom of Insecurity, one of his great books, he talks about how he talks about this. I just remember this paragraph distinctly. I don't know the exact words, but he's like, and then in a blink, the entire universe was created. It was like between the nothings, there was just like light and all. And it was like, what the freak? But I kind of feel that is moment to moment, it's like nothing, something, nothing, something, nothing, something, nothing, something. And like, if you kind of just follow that, you are there is like, it's not like God sat down with a sketch pad and was like, okay, well, they're making me create something, is it going to be as good as this last universe? It was like, no, boom, creation.
It's the way it unfolds. I mean, I want to pull back to it. It's like when you said, you hidden when your mum and dad were getting rid of all the toys, you've got under your bed from a child the microphone and the tape recorder. You were manifesting and creating Open Loops podcast.
Yes.
You were doing it when all of everything. This is where the discernment comes in. This is all when you look back in reflection, when you get to a certain point, so it shows you the potentiality of all probabilities at all times, in all spaces, in all timelines, in all universes, the power of you. That this is you can't just come in. There's not many people. I mean, obviously Alan Watts, Mooji, Papa G, Buddha, Jesus, there's a few more that go boom when they're in. But the majority of the gods, we have to, because of the physical body, we just die because we couldn't take the vibrational upload. We just, the whole body, because the whole body's conscious cells as well, and their vibration has to be, and all the rest of it. We're not going down that road. But if you look at that,
right,
the potentiality. So if you question, or your mind comes in about creating in your potentiality, I will say fake it till you make it, by the way. Look what you've created already first. because it's about faith. It's not a belief, it's a truth. You can have an academic understanding, but it's not until you get an experiential understanding, knowing rather, does the truth sit as a yes. So by looking back at what you've already created shows you your potentiality for creating now. And look at the creation you're doing. Look what you're doing for humanity with your podcast.
Yeah. Yeah, that is really interesting. Yeah, and the other thing I wanted to point out too is the spell casting point. I mean, if hypnosis isn't the most, that literally is it. You're learning language to be able to open up people's consciousness and shift consciousness. Like, of course, someone like me is going to have an interest in the field of spell casting. Like it all, yeah.
It's a beautiful topic. I mean, I teach it in the group, and trying to change the way. For example, I do this thing weekly with one of the groups, and I say, if I could grant you one wish to experience, it's an experiences group for those that have experienced, like myself, ET or dimensional beings. So we're already in that area. If I could grant you one wish to experience anything, what would it be? And when they start, I wish to experience, that means experiential. And they say a word, I change it. I say, watch how you say it. So I'm going to give you an example, the spell, because we've got the polarity spell casting, which is the subliminal messages by what we deem the powers that be, the controllers, it's the opposite. There is two, there's a polarity of everything, and so we change the way we say things, and that's why recently I was saying to someone else the other day, I'd use words like ET, this and that, Arcturian, the Mantis, and all that, and then they came in, and then I was back reading Seth, fucking 12 hours, and then I was back reading A Conversation with God with Neil Donald Walsh.
Yeah.
I was like, boom. Even though I'd done it before, I had to go back. My God, something open, and then it come out, especially from Seth. Energy personalities, and I really understood how to shift the deeper identity of everything, because by we take the surface identity, we're fractalized beings, so you take off the Gloria identity, but then there's a mother identity, there's a sister identity, there's a friend identity, there's a podcast identity, boom, boom, boom. And so we've started working on, changing the linguistics. So because if you utter something, here we go. If you say, I lack money, or I lack food, or I lack shoes, it doesn't matter what you say. I lack toilet roll. I lack the universe, the consciousness, how it works. Universal law of one is it picks up lack. The word lack. Lack is a word I take that back, by the way, universe. It's got a frequency to it. It's in the polarity. So the universe says, okay, I give you lack. You ask for lack, I give you lack. Does that make sense to you? It's the simplest way I can describe how I teach spellcasting. It's the simplest way. And it's about, with spellcasting, changing the words. Now, the hypnotist, and many of them are, our polarity and so-called power of this game, they use certain words, so the universe reflects it back.
Oh, yeah.
You get it?
Oh.
It's so simple to break it. It's to break the spell. It's not really there, but we're talking, we're in the game. So we're playing the game, me and you now, yeah? How do we get out of this game? Greg, how do we get out of this game? Let's discuss. Do you see what I'm saying about spellcasting?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And that's, and then, everybody out there should be careful of the perversion of it, which is cults. I mean, cults, that is where And it's a very interesting topic, but it's so easy to look at these kind of words you're talking about and then be like, consciousness. I'm just going to keep talking about this vague word consciousness, and how if you want to gain consciousness, I am the one person that is the person that's going to be able to give it to you, and nobody else is.
Yeah.
Listen to me. And then people, so that's the thing. It's like, words are very powerful in both
Mm,
directions.
mm. You've got to. I mean, we. How can I put this? It's part of the game. It's a part of each waking up. The same with David Icke and all the rest. Doesn't matter which way you come in. Many people that I know are mediums, and they've started to awaken through mediumship, because through psychic mediumship, the door's open anyway. You're already talking to another timeline.
Mm,
They're there. And if you're a contactee like me for a lifetime on this earth, then I'm already out there doing it. I've broken Newtonian laws. So is
yeah.
psychic. Yeah. I mean, they're not real. The Newtonian laws are not real. It's part of the program. It's a game. So, but everyone will come in. Some people come in to get that understanding, and there may be a bereavement in the family of a loved one, and it just shocks them. The door opens. Yeah, it could be any way, but what's happening now, and it is in the Seth material, and other channelers and other, I think everyone's a channeler, by the way. Every being's a channeler. You're channeling yourself, but
Yeah.
coming through with, the power of words. That's why, for many years we've been hearing the likes of, I don't know, Wayne Dyer, Eckhart Tolle, all of that. These affirmations. Yeah, way back in the day, it was affirmations which were trying to get you to say more affirmative words to come out to counteract.
Yeah.
Now we're at the point the gods have awoken, and they're coming into the 0 point. Let's use your term. I like that. It's a new terminology. We know what it means. We don't care if anyone else doesn't.
Right.
They're coming into the 0 point. So you can't take old tools into a new paradigm shift. If you've got conscious, if you're
Yes.
dropping everything, even Alan Watts, he hits this as well. You need to have reflection, discernment. You need to really open up, and you go, well, that no longer serves me. So with, this thing, I got to go back to hypnotherapy. It is mighty powerful tool for what we perceive to be negative, but also what we perceive. It opens us up to consciousness and how powerful consciousness is. And then the recognition of we're just consciousness, how powerful. So you can see it goes full circle by the
Yes.
life. Does this resonate with you? Have I gone off the track somewhere?
No. It maybe both. But it's a good track. It's a good different track you're going on, because that is, that's an interesting thing. I mean, maybe that's kind of why I feel, if there's anything about David Icke that I'm resonating with in this more than ever, is that I'm looking at hypnosis as, like, hypnosis is kind of like my conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
I'm like, while we are here, did you know that your mind can allow you to feel things? You can experience painless childbirth. You can rewrite your feelings about a trauma using your subconscious. All this stuff, which already is amazing. And in the background of that, I'm also going, and none of those thoughts are real, because you have more than anything that I could possibly show you with the power of your mind is not even, it's so minuscule compared to the potential that you are. Like, that's kind of an interesting, yeah.
It is. I mean, and what happens is when you realize who you are, use simple terms, and the potentiality, people say to me, Well, really, you could do anything, couldn't you? You can do, bad. No, no, because the realization of who you are, the potentiality, when you come into that understanding, it's unconditional love of the self, the being, not the arsehole identity. You love it too, like a child, it's part of you, but to everything that you witness. It is an impossibility to go back being a Homo sapiens sapien identity. The idea you have about yourself, the assumptions you have about yourself, your beliefs, your ideas, your concepts, it's impossible to return. Once you're there, it's impossible. Then that potentiality comes through. That's when the gods return. Well, they've already returned, but it's a game. I have to keep switching back because it is a game. It's a game that you played when you were doing your magic shows. It's the same game. And when you come to that point and you go, you do, as Alan Watts says it, a point comes when you laugh and you go, fuck. Fuck. And then everything drops. But there's still a maturing in that. There's no more question, but there's still a maturing. So we're at the point now of your 0 point, and I don't want to lose this with you. Where you are now at this 0 point, that you've touched. And I'm going to ask you a question from that point now. We're not in open mark. We're not in Inception podcast 8 doors, but I'm going to come in with something because we did discuss it a bit before, and you said you were interested. Yeah.
Oh,
so
very.
I'm going to ask you at this. I will bring you on that. I will. I'm going to ask you at this point. Have you had ET contact, to your knowledge, consciously?
No, I haven't.
Consciously.
How would I know?
There you go. Just ponder on that when you're alone. Just ponder on that. Have you ever seen an unidentified flying object in the sky?
Maybe once.
There you go.
Ponder
Ponder. What will happen is many that come into the experiencers group at the beginning say, no. And once you start talking, and they hear other experiences, and we talk about when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. Sometimes it's not the right time to recall. Sometimes. But at the right time, someone or something or some film, some program will just make you think again about the experience you had. I'm telling you, you would have had contact. And if you have seen an unidentified flying object, you would not have seen it unless you were supposed to see it. People think contact is just like, what I've had all my life, greys coming through the wall with big bulb here. It's not. It's not. It's not just that. There's multiple ways to experience something, and none of us will experience it the same. So if you've had contact with energy personalities, what we call ET, and fit that into your paradigm and into your 0 point, you can see potentiality of creation and co-creation with other beings. Does that resonate with you, or have I lost you?
I there's still some dots to connect. I'm going to become a lot more aware of these instances. I guess the thing that's missing is, what do you think the ET contact does that's different than just, say, connection with any spirit, even our classical idea of Yahweh or an intelligence in the universe. Why not that? Why do you think the ET thing is different if it is?
What we call ET, or I now call energy personalities, is the same as a Homo sapiens sapien. It's part of the 3D experience. It's part of the game. You know, you have contact with a female. I have contact with a male. It's part of the game. Two different species, so to speak, in one way. Two different.
So it's a step. It's a step on the ladder.
You could use it. It's. I wouldn't say on a ladder because you're not going up. It's a timeline. It's all in the now. It's part of. These beings have been in the Earth's written history here from the beginning. Everyone talks about them. They've always been here, and they're still here.
Yeah.
And they walk among us just like you were walking in a mall in America. You go to the shopping center, you see all the people. They're there as well, but it's to the consciousness shifts, you know. But you do get glimpses, either through dreams or, you know, anonymous experiences. You can't. Nah, it wasn't. Nah, it was. I would say every Homo sapiens sapien playing the role has experience with them. You cannot not. It's part of who we are, as we are multi-dimensional beings. Yeah, so I'm taking it to another level now. We're going to another level. So you go from I am consciousness, we're in multiple timelines with multiple potentiality and probabilities to create, and they're in there with us. They've always been there, and they are going through their creation and their, want to call it in evolution or whatever, learning. We're learning from each other. There's no superior, there's no lesser, but the difference is they've lost their ego. They've done the human experience. It's done, or they are just plasma beings that, you know, don't come into physical conscious form. There's multiple potentialities out there, but it's just a deeper down the rabbit hole I'm taking you, is to the questions that you'll ask yourself after this show. And then when you get on your show, someone's going to come up with something, and I'm going to be listening while you come out with something totally outstanding, and I go, fuck, I never thought of that. I'm going to plagiarize Greg. I'm having that. Do you see how it works? Do you see how it goes? So, I mean, how would you, I wasn't going to say, you interview people on your show that have had contact with these energy personalities, haven't you?
Yeah.
Do you find it
interesting? Yeah. I find it very interesting. I've also talked to people, and I'm getting more of these people on. I mean, I haven't gone into full. There's some people I'm still trying to lock in dates with, but I tend to attract people outside of the show that are like, hey, I've, like, for instance, someone was just like, opened up to me about the fact that they were born intersex and have had contact since they were 3 and have been channeling advanced technology and building inventions and like this person just opened up to me and said that they didn't want to do an interview, but they wanted to be asked questions. And I get that stuff I got a lot of people that are hybrids.
You just said you're attracting, you're creating this, Greg. You are creating this. Let's go back to your timeline. You didn't plan it, and you don't need to plan it. Your being is creating this for the awakening. It's awakening to self-realization, and it's continuous, guys, by the way, apart from Alan Watts, who just obviously, and especially now, is on that dimension, he's fully awake. So I'm saying about the law of attraction from the being. So I asked you the question, I didn't know, and I didn't use my psychic mediumship. I didn't know that these people were coming around you, but obviously the universe will bring it back to you. Something inside of you it knows there's been communication somewhere, and at the right time in the right place. But you were like when you were playing with your microphone, you didn't know how many years down the line. Do you see what I'm saying? It's already happening.
Right.
It's already happening. I think I love when people share this. That it's like the seeds are in, and they come along and switch it on. I love it. I love it. Now, the guy that just asked you to ask the questions, when you ask them questions, it's not only going to expand his awareness, but it's going to expand yours and mine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gods that don't know they're gods are co-creating a reality. But when you have the self-realization of who you are, you do it more playfully.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna say, and for anybody listening or watching this, I mean, there has been actually your recent guest Michael Feely asked this question on one of his at the beginning of one of the shows he did on the David Icke's network. He said, how many people these days are there that feel like they're not from here? More and more people. And I posed that question on Facebook. Yeah. I was stunned by how many people this is a thing. It's not just UFO sightings anymore. Like that's gone. It is now, it's contact. It's contact and it's awareness of this multidimensionality, this off. I mean, that is like to me, that's wild how many people have these experiences.
That's your reality. This is you creating it, Greg. From your perception, you're saying it's wild, you're seeing it. It's you're creating this. But the first contact is with yourself.
Oh. Whoa.
You are that. You are the energy personalities. The first contact is with the being. When you connect to that, you attract the rest in. How does that resonate with you?
It makes sense. I mean, no, it's
find out who you are in all totality. But the fun is, as you're doing it, you start attracting. Even my shows are changing. They change on their own. I mean, don't do jack shit. What life is for you, it just happens. It's not being done to you. If you have the perception it's being done to you, that's what you'll experience. When you flow, life is for you. You are life. You are creator. You don't need to think jack shit. It will just flow. If you go with the flow, it will just, you're just materializing this all in front of you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just you. It's all about you. There's let's use the analogy, there's one Earth and 8 billion humans having different experiences, different universes. Even though I think some of them are just like players. They're not
the non-player characters, yeah.
I think there's non-player characters. I think the gods, I don't know how many gods there are on the planet, but the rest are non-players. Because I'm telling you, people are disappearing.
Oh my gosh.
You know that? Well, what happened? And you talk about the Mandela effect. No, people are just fucking disappearing. It's just moving. It's weird. I don't know. It's fun. It's like being in a video game. When you're in the games, and you as you're going along, and it's just a bit like that at the moment. But you're creating all of this. And then as your energy, I said about your voice, your frequency, and anyone listening to you, it's a natural to be drawn towards you. It's going to be natural. And that's what's happening everywhere at this moment. The gods are now co-creating. I like using the word the gods. Alan Watts used it.
Yeah, that's funny because people would not think of him that way. I mean, I think that's the appeal.
Did you read his book on UFOs, Alan Watts? I've got the book.
He wrote a book on UFOs?
He wrote a book and I got it on UFOs. Yeah.
Wait a minute.
You know what? Because I had to, with my journey, obviously Alan Watts was my guru. And then obviously being an ET, and I needed to get them compatible. I know it's part of discernment. It was like, well, what did Alan Watts say about UFOs? And I couldn't find that. And I found his book, and he talked scientifically in detail about UFOs.
Okay, I gotta check that out. That sounds amazing. I didn't know that was a thing.
Yes, I'm trying to think. If I had the book at hand, I just moved my furniture. When we finish the show, I'll find the book and show you it. Okay.
That sounds good to me. My gosh, I'm just charging my computer for a second. Hold
on a minute. I'll get it.
No worries. Difficult, folks. Here we go.
He's charging his computer because. Hold on a second. Hold on. See, not many people know that Alan Watts wrote a book on UFOs.
Oh, wait.
Oh, wait.
I had no idea. Okay, are we back? Are we back yet?
Oh,
there we go. Yes. Beautiful. All right.
I'll find the book after, and I'll show you the book. Now.
Yeah, I'm shocked.
Right. Yeah. I'm supposed to shock you. Like, what? This is what I want to do. Good. I saved it to now. So, but for me, because I resonate with everything Alan Watts said, it was my truth. Okay. He expressed it differently to but it's still my truth. The principles, the foundation of who am I? Yeah.
Yeah.
And the illusion. I still had to overcome, the thoughts were going in. Oh, well, he doesn't talk about ET, and all this was going on. Yeah. So the ego was really trying to save me. I don't want to wake up. And it took me a while, and I found it. And I went, what the fuck? Boom.
Wow.
Boom. And I found the book for me was too scientific. Just the fact, all I needed that he believed in UFOs. Well, obviously he would, yeah. But it was just at that time my ego was playing with me. And still there, you need to watch. Just be vigilant. It will pop up now and again, and if you feel any resistance, don't block it. Go, okay. Let's have a conversation with this thought. Right, I'm going to check this out. He wrote a book on UFOs.
Fascinating. Love Watts. I mean, Alan Watts is just so good. So good. Just the best.
That man woke up so many beings on this planet. And the one of his talks way back in the day, and I never heard it before, and this is the one that snapped me. And he would say, it was the one where he says, I'm going to kill it now. Imagine you're going to have a dream for 75 years, yeah, of anything you wanted. And you could do anything. You could have all the alcohol, sex. And then, you were aware and whatever. And then you left that. You left that one, come back, and you went, I want something a bit more challenging, Imagine if I was hiking up a mountain and feeling, and they go, no, I know. Imagine, and he goes on down. He does it better than me, to forget who you are. And then he goes through this, and his voice, you're in this voice, yeah, and you're just listening.
Yeah.
And then he goes, imagine that you're sitting in your front room on the sofa talking to Greg about his podcast. And then he goes, imagine you realize you're God. And it was I'm just, killing
wow.
it. When that came in, I was so in the frequency, just listening. I was open. And then he said, you are God. And boom.
What a hypnotist. Now that's a spellcaster, that guy.
He broke He would break the spells. He was a spellcaster. He would break the spells.
Yes.
He could
Yes.
bring it in. He could use academia. He could use spirituality. He could use religion. He could use quantum physics. He could use neuroscience. He could use all of that. He had the whole conundrum, and he would break. He was an alchemist on vibration. He could break, and he still does to this day, because his voice is recorded. He breaks every spell.
Yes.
And so do many others. But yeah, he believed in UFOs. I love it.
Well, now I'm going to be a lot more conscious of UFO interactions or ET.
I mean, it's people say, well, how, we say how to become more conscious. Well, another thing, I love doing social experiments. I did it in my work as well, but I do them for fun, because I like the individual to have that personal experience, and if it benefits them and resonates, to do it. And one of them was, some in the group were saying, oh, I don't see anything, I don't hear anything. And so I say, well, when you go out jogging, do you have headphones on? And they go, yeah. I said, take them out. No, and I'm listening to affirmations. I said, take them out, because there's a frequency coming through, that's blocking your frequency. And when you hear from the being, you hear from the heart. When you see from the being, you see from the heart. It's not the physical. We use them. Anyway, long story short, the first person started jogging without the headphones in. I'm not going to go into their private. The things that they witnessed was unbelievable. In fact, one thing I will share, they really heard the birds, the frequency. And then another one, I said, don't sleep with your phone in your bedroom.
Yeah.
The frequency, don't use this, don't do that. Get yourself an old school alarm clock to wake up for work. Don't use the and everything, you just see it starts to change. Because these things, how can you experience this, Greg? It's breaking the spells, and some of the spells are physical form, which is a TV, electronics, phones, especially headphones. You've got them on now. Is a frequency that's going in, which is interfering with your frequency. So if you're, say, for example, hypothetically, your frequency, and you can tune in to anything, you're God's source, and you can access all, which you can. But then you've got earphones in with music or something, or someone talking affirmations, their frequency, a human, Homo sapiens sapien, you're blocking your frequency to hear what you're supposed to hear. That's a very simple way of explaining.
That's a great point. It makes me wonder how to I'm like, should I never wear headphones again? But
free choice, free will. Me personally, I will not, use headphones. I will not use headphones, because they're a frequency coming through.
And sound is so powerful. I mean, sound is, well, it's a lot of people believe sound is what moved the bricks of pyramids.
I have no issue with that. Vibration is all frequency. I have no issue with that at all. That resonates with me, especially with Akhenaten at the back there. So imagine what can block sound is other frequencies. There are we all know about the likes of harp, which we all know there's different frequencies. So if the whole point of self-realization and doing our podcast is to wake the fuck up and remember who we all are, we need to sense our own frequency first. That comes through going in and all this process of self-realization that Anna Watts talks about, Muji and all the others. But if we got frequency external on us, a different hertz, There's a block.
That's such a good point.
Even your thoughts are frequencies. Even your thoughts have a vibration. Even your thoughts. I don't listen to guided meditations because it's another, unless I really, really, really trust the being like Alan Watts, then I resonate. Do you see what I'm saying? So it's something that many of us don't really take much notice of. We're not aware of until someone brings it to our attention. Frequency.
That's why you need more conscious hypnotists, or watch out for the hypnotist that you book. You know, like at the very least, if you're going to get somebody that is working on a process like that, have a conversation with them first. Because
I mean, as I said, I will jump in coming from non-duality and say it's a bit late for the hypnotist now. It's now.
Yeah, right.
We're here now. It's now. There's no time, but it's now. And the time now is the process of who you truly are. That is all that's needed now. If you don't need really any more books. You don't need any more education. You don't need nothing external. That's why the conversations you do on your podcast and other hosts do and I do are so important, because we're talking experiential from the beings now. And we're learning from each other. Okay, we're playing with the magic now. We're there. How do we do this? Yeah. And we inspire each other. We try it and we fuck up. Yeah. We manifest something. It's not what we wanted. It's okay. We won't do that again, will we? We keep thinking that and we're creating that in our reality. Like, oh, I lack understanding. Yes, you got lack. Oh, I won't say that word now. So we're there with each other. We inspire each other in this. So I'm going to now come back at you and say, from your being, from who you truly are, what words, remember spellcasting, what words could you say to the audience or anyone that watches this on a replay where you could affect their potentiality and inspire them to know who they are? What words would you give them?
Yeah. I would say, very simply, is surrender all and create. Yeah. You back?
I'm back. I don't know what happened. I'm glad you stayed there. I was in this deep question, and then boom, boom, boom. Everything else working in my house, internet-wise, I could text whatever, but the laptop just shut it down.
Whoa.
But StreamYard stayed open. I'm used to this shit. It's called the paranormal. Hey, there you go. We're back.
What? Did you hear what I said? My words, my four words?
No, I didn't. I asked you. That was a real deep down the rabbit hole question. I didn't hear it. So I've come back, and look how StreamYard is still waiting live. What was your answer, Greg?
Wow. It was surrender. It was surrender all and create. Emphasis on the create.
And I noticed how you depressed the words there to come across really like the voice of God. You would do good in a film doing the voice of God. I could be
Thank you.
I could be the devil voice, That was mighty, powerful. Surrender to all experiences. Don't be neutral to all experiences.
And create.
And create through that experiences. I like that. Wow. I'm going to plagiarize you, and I'm going to use that now.
Well, you helped co-create it. I mean, we got the 0 point. I mean, this was a co-creation that I'm very grateful for.
Oh no, I'm very grateful. Surrender all and create. I mean, I'm not letting you go in it though. That is profound. I want you to expand upon surrender all. Teach me how to surrender all. If anyone in the audience says, well, how do I do that, Greg?
Yeah. Well, it's a choice. It is and again, this is advice that I'm also like, this is advice I'm implementing for myself. It's kind of like it's just action. It really is. It is a dedication to taking action on the potential inside of you that you feel has to come through. I have a million things, and I do this all the time. I'm going to get off of this call, and my racing thoughts, ego mind is going to go like, okay, what should I do next? What's going to be, okay, well, it's Sunday. I got to get to work tomorrow. I got to do all this stuff, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, it's like the surrender all is like, whoa, that's a lot. That's all. Surrender. I'm choosing to say bye. And then I'm going to go, now, what do I want to do? Oh yeah. Oh, this thing I want to create. Oh, this thing I want to do. Yeah, I'm gonna go into that. I'm gonna create this experience for myself. So yeah, I believe it comes back to that choice thing of it's an action. It's an action.
I love it. I mean, I would say it's slightly different, but I so resonate with what you just said. It's, when then thoughts come in, it's like I heard an analogy. It's not mine. Someone else was talking about, they asked a question about how do we do this? And they said, when it all starts coming in, like you said, we've got this Sunday, go to work, it's just a regurgitated thought, a load of bollocks, I mean? It's just going on. Focus on one thing, just like you said. Focus on one thing.
Yeah.
I'm going to go and create this. Keep your attention on that, and all the rest would dissipate and fall away. So it's the same thing you're saying, because when you said, I'm going to leave that, I'm going to go and create this. And if you put what you put your attention on is what you will manifest. So dematerialize them thoughts so they don't go out there in your creation. I always say there's a 3-second rule. You know, when you drop things on the floor and you go in the house, 3-second rule, and you can eat it.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
for some, it's a load of bollocks, but you know, after 3 seconds, the germs come. But we're playing a game, so let's do it. I love that analogy. But if you keep your attention on what you choose to create, then they will dissipate. Them panicky, fearful doings will dissipate. It's a really good advice, Greg.
Yeah, and I think
By the way, the microphone now works perfectly.
What is going on?
Yeah, I can hear your sexy voice. I'm loving it. You go on.
No, I think that works for everything in life too. I mean, it's even okay. You know, someone invites you to a party. There's that, because I know this too. I know, like, my process is, oh, that sounds fun. Hear all the reasons you don't want to go.
Yes.
Reasons. And it's like, yeah, but if you felt that spark for a second, 3-second rule, follow the spark. Follow the spark. Take the invitation. Take it.
Yes. So agree with that one. Oh, yeah. Because normally the limited mind will come in and fuck it up for you. So you, like Greg said, you get that spark, go with it. Don't second guess. Don't listen to the mind.
Follow the sparks. That's an interesting idea. Yeah, that's like
follow the sparks.
Even like a slight, like it doesn't have to be. And that is a mistake I've definitely, or at least I for a while in my, like, not knowing what I want to do up until this podcast phase, I was like reading books on inspiration and trying to be like, okay, but what is this whole, what is this whole passion thing people talk about, and like following your passion? Like, how do I find this thing? And that never resonated for me because it's not, I don't think that's a real thing, or at least it's not for everybody. Certainly it's you have like a little, like, oh, hypnosis is interesting. Okay, well, what more can you learn about this today? And actually focus on that learning. And then all of a sudden something else becomes interesting. And then you're co-creating an experience with yourself. It's possible with yourself too. So it's about the little sparks.
Now you're getting deep. It took me to get kicked off and back on for you to go deep. Now you're going deep. I mean, create with yourself. And that is what you're doing anyway. That is what you're doing. First contact is with you. That's the first contact.
Yes.
That's the first contact. And believe it or not, when you practice this, it's simple. Practice this process. People think it's hard. That's just the mind telling you it's hard. Just ignore it. When you practice this process, it becomes natural, organic flow. Go. I love that. Follow the sparks. That is I will say, what is your highest excitement? I've talked to some people. What's your excitement? Not in my groups, outside, and they go, haven't got any. And I'm thinking, oh God, you're the Walking Dead.
Yeah, right.
What's your passion? I haven't got any. And so you can see, that where they are in the illusion, in the dream. Don't judge them on it. Just don't judge them on it. But then you can, each one of us, have the power just to have our energy, our sparks, help them. Our sparks, being that spark, even an arsehole, a comedian, whatever, if you got that spark, it will affect another. And it can assist another God to get them to remember who they are. That was quite deep, Greg. You did good there. You
Thank you, Gloria.
You should interview yourself. I've actually thought one day I'm going to interview myself just for the fucking hell of it. Has anyone ever done that?
That's a funny idea. I mean, yeah, that's kind of what originally my podcast was. Well, yeah, and I do those solo episodes once in a while, and they are well, apparently you like when I'm talking on my show, so maybe I should
I
do it more.
love when you. I love it when what comes out your mouth. I'm like, it's fresh, it's new,
Mm,
and when you ask, when you ask your guests a question, you don't know what's coming back at you. None of us do, yeah. And there's
yeah.
not many podcast hosts that can handle an awkward question, or they haven't heard the question properly and they've come up with something else. But you just come back and you go in and it's like, wow. And then you come back with a follow-up question. I'm going, how the fuck did he do that?
Yeah, I'm surprised too sometimes, but it is the it
Are you
is like
following your sparks? There's a reason I'm telling you this. I'm leading
yeah.
you where you do it because you're following the sparks. Now think about it. Reflect. When you got a guest on your show, they're coming back, and you come out with questions or an after question that you don't know where it comes from, you'll find that sparks there. You've got this inquisitiveness, this
Mm,
you've heard something. There's a spark going. Does that make sense to you now?
yeah. Yeah. No, definitely. Definitely
That's when
does.
you're good at what you do. Whether you're unconsciously following your sparks, we've just created a new terminology. What do they
Following
mean?
your spark.
Sparks.
Yeah, following your sparks. I mean, yeah, no, I think it's it's a thing I'm gonna look out for even in my conversations with people more. Like when I can, because you know what? I mean, and we see it in real life, right?
Yeah.
Like you were saying about the people in your group.
Mm.
I am on a search to find that in people in my life. Like I love talking to people and
Yeah.
seeing where that self cracks through, because
Yes.
it is something it can be so frustrating to see the walls and the
Yeah.
layers. And I mean,
Yeah.
forget the world situation, okay? The world sucks, there's a lot of bad politics, but like the interpersonal communication situation in the
Yeah.
world, like
Yes.
that's the issue we need to crack here. Like
Yes.
it's the
Yes.
yeah, it's the human existence thing. It's like,
Exactly.
do people realize they're all capable? Everybody could be capable of being the most interesting person ever if you
Yeah.
just felt into who you really were.
Ex-
That's the pandemic.
yeah.
The walls.
Exactly. I love what you just said about, and I'm the same. When you're interviewing someone, or you're talking to someone, you're looking for the crack of the being. You're
Yes.
driving away. Come on, come on, come on. And you have to word it. You have to go a certain way. And sometimes I think, well, not today. Okay, not today. But that's your spark again, because your passion is, it's there. You're
Yes.
recognizing the multi-dimensional being in another being, even if they're not consciously aware yet. That's part of it. That's what you're supposed to do from 0 point. You know that you are not the all is, yeah. And that is my passion. Every time, so I have all different experiences, from ghost stories to mediums to eating. Everything's in there, yeah. Egyptology, but a lot. And I'm still waiting, no matter what they bring to the table. I'm going to go in, and when the spark goes, I'm going to catch it. I'm going to pull
Hmm.
that out and go, because that's what I'm looking for. And they do the same to me.
Oh yeah. Oh
So you're
yeah.
right. Go in the world within, because the world within, guys, is which is consciousness, where it's created. Consciousness consciousness creates matter, the external, what you experience.
Mm.
So you are so on point there when you say, stop worrying about what's going on out there. Go within and see what's going on in here. It
Yeah.
is that's Look how amazing you are. You never saw that coming out your mouth, did you?
No, I didn't. I didn't. So thank you. I know this is what she said before the interview. You're gonna have no idea what's gonna come out of you. And you're a good psychic. I'll tell you that. You
I
proved
mean,
the point.
it's a case that I perceive that every being, even ourselves, because I was one once, believe it or not, I could still be one now. Who knows? And then play the role later. Are all multidimensional beings. There's nothing that is not.
Yeah.
Everything
I know,
is.
and people fight sometimes. They're multidimensional. It's the worst when I mean that's just me complaining, but it's true when people are fighting their multidimensional nature.
Yeah.
And I gotta tell you, like, it doesn't mean you have to believe in UFOs. Sometimes
No.
multidimensionality is just
No.
saying, like, admitting you're sad when you're sad.
Yes.
That's like multidimensionality.
You're
So yes,
experiencing, you're experiencing something, acknowledge the experience.
right, right.
Acknowledge we are here. We came in to experience, to know thyself. You need the
Yes.
experience in the polarity to know thyself. That's why you've come in. We've come in playing the role. Like I wanted to experience, obviously, playing the role on stage as a prostitute. I really do love Victorian era. I resonate with the Victorians. I don't know why, but I do. I love the architecture. I love everything. And I played, and I so enjoyed the experience. Now, here I'm going to add a point. After I come off stage and, we all bowed and curtsied,
Yes.
I realized it wasn't real. Boom.
Mm.
This experience, after every performance, even with you, now, in the now, well, I realize now it's not real. I'm playing the role as Gloria and Open Minds live chat show.
That's so true. That's so true. Yeah, because I'm gonna walk away and be like, "Oh yeah, that was a good one, Greg. This Open Loops podcaster, like you just had a great talk with Gloria." Da 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 da. But then it's like me in my bedroom, in my books, and I need a drink of water, and then there's like this drumming in the park outside my apartment, and family, and there are all these other things that are like, okay, my brain is gonna go like with the identity of that thing with like it has a this is what's interesting about the spark. The spark, this is why it's tricky. The mind it messes with you. It's like the spark, that spark, you have to be willing to surrender all. That spark is no longer the next spark. So sometimes people get tripped up. They go like, well, look at all this success that I had. Let me just keep firing that spark. And it's like, no, that's not the spark. That's not the spark anymore. There's a new spark.
It's gone. Everything dissipates. In this motion, the only thing that stays in the now is the being. All thoughts go, all concepts go, all identity goes, the physical body goes, but I am that I am, it never goes. So it's just, you've just hit the nail on the head again. It's the same process. You can't hold on to anything, even your thoughts, guys. You can't, but you can hold on. You always are the observer of everything you think you own. But I want to come back. I need to come back to what you said about when you go to the bedroom, get the water, and you've got the noise outside. Something I'm going to throw in here just to ask you. I'm at this time in the now of what we're going through collectively. Many are becoming extremely sensitive to external noises, which normally didn't bother our frequency. But, I'm going to give you an example, and I need to ask this because something just come in. I've had 6 children, and don't know how many grandchildren there are now, but anyway, so I played the role of the mother, whatever. And there was a child kicking a ball against the fence, but it sounded louder than ever. and all sounds in the external, yeah. And the only way I can relate it is many years ago, a couple of decades ago, actually, I used to walk into like a shopping center. You call it the mall over there or something,
Yeah.
yeah, undercover. And I would hear all voices at all time. I would hear all people's thoughts. I'd hear all the dead talking, and it was just too overwhelming. Till I learned to control myself and shut it down. Yeah. And I recognized it, that sound is, so don't think it's your ego going, oh, I don't like that. Don't. When you talk about surrender to all, be aware that if the frequency is raising inside of you to 0 point or going into 0 point, external, will have a bit of an effect on you, because frequency is, whether you want to call it fifth dimension, four density, whatever label you want to. You've just come into my head when you said that about the noise. Then if your attention goes on to the noise, it will take you off the spark. No, the spark's going to go anyway. But I just wanted to add that. Have you found recently, if not, you may not, have you found like external or people are talking and it really is a load of bollocks, and it's not annoying you, but it's like, I need to shift.
Yeah. Yeah, no. I mean, I don't know if this is another thing I'm not fully consciously aware of. It's different than it was before, but I do have to tell you that external noise and the conversations going around me and the noise going on around me has definitely it can be a cause for distraction a lot more than maybe it used to be.
Yes.
I like really like, if I need to focus in on something, like I need to like cut off some of that stuff.
Well, now I always have an agenda, because when in the past we were not aware of that, the spell casting, we were deaf to it. We were deaf. When you become aware of the spell casting, the hypnosis, the frequency of words, it doesn't resonate no more, because the spell's broken in you, the being. So you notice it more. Yeah, I need to go. But before, you were quite happy to sit there, weren't you?
Yes.
It doesn't resonate no more. It doesn't resonate no more. It's like 3/4 of the world now do not turn on the news because it doesn't resonate no more.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, but they say people wake up. It's just simplifying something powerful of who you are. Your frequency doesn't resonate with that frequency no more. You can't even, you literally, like David Icke was a spellcaster to break the hypnotic spells. You are now breaking the hypnotic spells just like David Icke, and billions of others are doing it. This is where I'm going down the rabbit hole on this one.
Yeah.
You don't want to take it personal from the identity. Oh, I'm evolving. No bollocks to that. That's the ego talking. But it's a simple thing. You're breaking, you're spell casting. You are becoming the magician now, the Harry Potter School of Magic. And you're going, nah, don't resonate with me no more. But because it's a new experience, we didn't really put our attention on it or reflect upon what is happening. Why can't I be in that energy no more? So
yes. Yeah, you know, there is yeah, I think that's another part of this disclosure movement. That's a lot of the just this whole moving into the 5D and like kind of the calling of the weirdos is sort of where that's kind of where I'm feeling we're going. It's like becoming normal. A lot of people always talk about how oh yeah, the woo-woo has gone mainstream.
Yeah.
Not all the way, but here's what I will say is that I do believe that there is a it's now okay not to feel I'm starting to feel for myself it's more okay to be like, Oh, yeah. I don't have to. Why do I have to adjust my conversation to fit in with this group of people that are just operating
Yes.
on a different frequency? Like, I
Yes.
just don't need this frequency. It's not that they're worse. It's not
No.
that they're I'm not trying to judge, but I actually just can't stomach it as much anymore. I just have to I'm
Yeah.
just okay. Thank you so much.
And
You've
that's
done this and that's okay.
you've evidenced it yourself, because about an hour ago you said to me, I'm attracting different type of people to my show.
Yeah.
There's that when you reflect back, even reflect back on the type of guests you've had on, and you said an hour ago, different they're coming, and I had this guy come up and said, ask questions about ET, and you said it's happening because as you shift, it's constant flux, spark, spark, spark. You're creating with yourself constantly.
Yeah.
That's exactly what you're doing.
Yeah, it's been very hard to I didn't even know I'd get to this point, but I used to have a lot of life coaches on the show. I used to have a lot of manifestation teachers and people that knew a little bit about the esoteric, but didn't to me feel, at least as I've started getting deeper and deeper into this, I'm going, you know what? I need something a little. I feel that there's something more interesting has to come through here. Like these ideas I'm with, but I'm no longer I don't know. I need someone a little more experienced at
Mm.
this point. I'm starting to I figured out who I'm like, who it to me is compelling.
Yeah,
Um and yeah, interestingly enough, it's not all, I mean, sometimes it's people in their 20s that have had
yeah,
UFO encounters,
yeah,
but I'm started people with more experience have been more interesting to talk to as of late, just
yeah,
because it's deeper.
yeah. I mean, that's what I think all podcast hosts, us current lot, are going for. We're going deeper. We're looking for the deeper conversations, the deeper spark. Our sparks are coming, and no, that don't resonate. And something stronger is coming, and we're being pulled, and we're being pulled, and we're being pulled, and we will naturally manifest that spontaneously. I mean, the ones I just recently booked some guests for the future. I'm going, fuck, where did they come from? I still say it. I know how it goes. Yeah. Uh,
Yeah.
Seth 101. But I'm enjoying that because I need to enjoy the experience of finding me and enveloping. What's the word?
Envelop.
Yes, love you. Enveloping me. And I'm finding me and learning more about me through this process of who I truly am. So I know who I am, but it doesn't stop when you know who you are. There's more. It's the potentiality of this. And I was like, oh my God, oh my God. It's like, oh, fuck that. Oh, fuck. Oh, wow. I can do that. Oh, wow. And then you really play the game. You
Yeah.
really, really. Hello. It's Omar. Hello, darling. What do you mean, hello, Greg? What about me again, Omar? He does it. He does it to all my guests. He says hello to my guests. Hi, look. Oh, good. I look great. You look good too, Omar. So, yeah, you're quite right there, Greg. I mean, that's how that's how going on that spark from 0 point, we know what we're talking about. And it evolves itself. But for me, it's learning more about who I am and my
Yeah.
potentiality as a creator, as a manifester in this game. One more thing. At the stage you are now, I can also reflect back and all the things that I once perceived to be evil done to me in the dream. I now look back and go, I'm a fucking master script writer. How the hell
Hmm.
did wow, I created so everything changed. Have you found that yet? That you can look back on what we call past trauma in the experience and see it from a different perception yet?
Oh, I mean, for sure. And I'm going to say that part of the journey has been feeling, how do I put this? Not even explicitly being aware of. See, this is why it's been interesting. I never have felt that I actually had trauma for years.
Mm,
Like for years and years, I was like, wait a minute, what is this? And I started meeting people in college that would talk about like, oh yeah, I don't talk to my dad. And I was
mm,
like, what? I never grew up with that. I never had an experience where my parents had this kind of thing and I was yelled at for being a failure and da 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 da. But I, in an interesting way, and this is what's interesting about what's going on with me. I am realizing um things that might have been traumatizing from not just my family, from old lovers, from just life experiences that I
mm,
didn't really clock until recently
mhm.
were instrumental in shaping my perception of self-worth.
Yes.
So, and here's what's interesting about this. When you are someone as studied as I am, it can be tricky because at the one hand, like I can look at everybody else and go like, oh, well, you just need to forgive this person, forgive
Yeah.
yourself. They made a mistake. Da, 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 da. But to
Mm,
do that to yourself as you're recognizing that there were unaccounted aspects,
mhm.
look, I don't hold on to the trauma. I don't hold on
No.
to the victim mindset. I never
Mm,
have.
mhm.
But I'm also going, it's good to, uh, I suppose I'm now in a place of acknowledging
Yeah.
as a means of working through it because I always kind of came at it from a different level of consciousness that wasn't quite this, oh gosh, yeah, I've got a lot of baggage, man. Like I never had that.
No.
So it's been an interesting, like, it's like
Yeah.
timelines clashing. It's like I have the awareness and yo, Greg, you're a human. Like it's good to process that stuff too.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I'm at currently, which is it's a very not a lot of people talk about that. I haven't found a lot that relate to that
Yeah.
experience, but
Yeah. I think
um
it's a
yeah.
vital part. I mean, it needs to come out the closet, so to speak. I mean,
Yeah.
there's even examples of, say, for example, you got an ex-partner, um, and at the time the relationship ended, like bad, so to speak, as most do. Um, it's one thing to say I've worked on that trauma, whatever, but the other being over there is still feeling fucking guilty or hurt.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And so this is what we neglect. We are responsible for everything. There's no punishment, there's no right or wrong. I'm just saying we're playing the game. Now, that ex-partner that you think is an arsehole and they think you're the arsehole, you both agree to be two arseholes. You more likely were, it takes two. But on the journey, the reflection on the individual is slightly different. And you can, as this multidimensional being, revisit through, you can call it the imagination, you can call it going in, you can, whatever works for you in your truth, you can go revisit that situation within and help heal the other being, because you need to thank them for playing their role so really.
Mhm.
And that same time, yeah,
Yeah.
the healing comes to your experience. The whole point of that friction was to realize, to experience who I am. I couldn't know it without the polarity of the friction. Does that make sense to you?
It does. It does. Yeah. Yeah. Because I'm sitting here going, oh gosh. I mean, am I supposed to just think about these things that were
No,
painful and like cry
no,
them out?
no, you're not. No, you're not. But it's, I'm saying in general, there are some things that keep popping up. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
They keep coming into your mind. This is where I was taking this one. This is how powerful you are. I've had a few people over the past few months. They keep coming into my mind, and I know Coming the first time, it's just thought. Second time and third time, I'm on it. What is it I need to do about this? And sometimes, out of the blue, I just send a message, just hoping all's well and you're okay. I've broken that frequency that was before. It's all you need to do. All you need to do.
Yes, that resonates. Yes.
What I'm trying to say to you, sometimes we think, even on this, at this point of the 0 point, well, it wasn't my fault. It was, they were psychotic. They were mental.
Right.
They were straining all down and a court action and, you know, and it's still in there. It's still in there. And so if something keeps coming up like that, I would suggest you just look at it differently and go, thank them. Just that.
Yeah.
And
yeah, you know, it's interesting. I almost feel like if someone were to look at my situation, they'd go like, Greg, you should add a little victim consciousness to yourself. Like, I almost feel, and I don't know if that's, you know, something that maybe it's just like I've been lucky and I've been able to skip that process.
Maybe you have. Maybe you just pissed everyone off. Yeah, I'm sure I pissed off more other gods, on the experience than I have been a victim.
Right. Like I do not. Yeah.
No, I don't know how many, you know, please don't send emails, send them to Greg, you know, but it's when you open up to everything, you are all things including, you know, no one ever thinks, I wonder if I pissed anyone off. No one does that. We all think, who pissed us off? Oh, I've healed my trauma. I've healed my abuse. I've healed this. I've healed. I've moved part. We've done all that. Yeah. But, you know, it's even Alan Watts, Muji has done it. They all talk about never get complacent. Never, ever get complacent in this experience. And they are wise sages to teach us that. And it's just a thought, because at this 0 point, we are still unconsciously aware at this point, because we're still here, we're not Alan Watts, of anything else that needs to be worked on or healed. Until someone brings it out, a mirror will reflect to us, like a guest will come on the show and say something and press our button. And not until that, I've had it. I've had guests do that. I don't know if you have.
Sometimes. Oh, yeah. Oh, definitely. Definitely.
Yeah, they can. And you go, shit, I thought I was awake and aware. And inside I'm going, stay there. I'm talking to the big energy. Stay there. Thank you. And when I finish this conversation, just stay there. You can stay there feeling anxious. And then after I finish my interview, I go, okay, what are you showing me? Because I'm the observer of that coming in. And it just a little flutter of something I've forgotten and I recall. And it just needed for me to recall it, nothing else. For some reason, I had to recall it. Does this resonate with you?
Yeah. And I know you've heard me talk about this before on our friend Rob Yox's Full Spectrum Universe show. I like getting triggered, or at least I say I like it, because it's like, oh, what is this expansion point inside of me? What is this thing? Like it feels I like it in a weird way.
Yeah, I like it in a weird way too. And when it comes up, I go, ooh. I'm like this. What? Stay there. I'm coming. Don't go anywhere. Don't hide. Come back. I do. And the funny thing is, when I do one-to-ones and when I teach, I tell my participants, I'm coming in to press your buttons. I want you, and I do it on purpose, and I make them sit in the fucking energy, like they want to kill me on. They want to kill me on Zoom. Yeah, stay there, stay there. They're in either fear or something. They've got a fear of something or something. They, you know, and I say, I'm going to press your buttons. Can you handle it? Can you handle it? Are you ready? And I do. It takes about 6 sessions, and then they go. Because
Yeah.
I know the power of having your buttons pressed when it's
Oh
done.
yeah.
You know?
I know, and I sometimes I wish I did it more to people in interviews, but you know, I have to get people to want to come on the show still.
No, I don't do it on interviews. I don't do it on interviews. There's a different skill set for. But when I'm
No, of course.
in interviews, for me, when I do an interview, I'm here to learn from my guests. That's me. I'm greedy. I am greedy for the conscious expansion. I want more. I've got the spark, and the spark increases, so I'm greedy for information. I'm just pulling it. I'm getting it from you, Greg. We've gone 2.5 hours. I can't believe it.
Yeah, this is pretty
Intense.
This is pretty this has been great. Yes. I'm excited to follow the spark. I don't know where it's going to take
Omar,
me, but
I think Omar, I did a show with Omar the other week. I think we went 2 hours, and then with someone else I went 2.5 hours, and I'm going over now 2.5, where 2 hours 33. We've got. I have, Greg. I don't want to end it, but if you need to go. I am so enjoying this conversation with
likewise. Look, let's do Inception at some point. I'm very
you
curious
still
about
want to do Inception, do you?
Oh yeah.
Okay,
Oh yeah.
I will get you booked into Inception 8 Doors, okay? You've got a thirst for it now. You have. I will. We'll have him on 8 Doors, Inception podcast, 8 Doors of Consciousness. We'll do that one. So before we close this one, sweetie, I want to thank you so much for a most sparky conversation.
Yes.
Thank you for taking me to 0 point. Thank you for your wonderful voice. I'm so glad your fucking microphone sorted itself out. Holding the fort while I disappeared. Where can people get hold of you? Sell yourself shamelessly now.
Oh my gosh. Everybody go to open-loops.com. Or if you want to find Open Loops on your preferred podcast platform, I made them on Apple, Spotify. There's a YouTube channel, which we've linked to see video content and in the video interviews. But it is podfollow.com/open loops. Punch that into your browser and it'll take you to whichever podcast platform you're using the most on your phone, I believe. And then the other thing is, you know what? Instagram, at the Greg Bornstein on Instagram. You can follow me on there. That's at the Greg Bornstein. But yeah, Open Loops with Greg Bornstein, conversations that bend. Google search that, you'll find me.
Yeah, I go onto YouTube and stalk his conversations on there when I got free time. I go around, I just scan everyone's, but I am definitely into your conversations. I love your guests.
Thank you, Gloria.
No, I tell you guys, you need to go and subscribe to it. You can subscribe to mine as well, but you need to go and subscribe to
this has been an amazing conversation. I'm gonna, now that I know what I've been, where you take people, I'm gonna start watching more of your interviews too, because I'm a fan.
Definitely. I tell you what, I've subscribed to your YouTube channel. I bet you haven't subscribed to my Open Minds or my Inception.
Crap. Can we do it right now?
Hate mail coming.
She's right. Oh my God, she just pushed him. Wow.
Oh look. Watch us talk. Omar says I stalk Greg. Yeah, I stalk him too, darling. You let him try and get a restraining order. It won't work.
Yes.
It's been fantastic. And again, to all of you guys on Facebook, there's well over 5,000, whatever hundreds, who following Open Minds Chat Show. Thank you so much indeed. Thank you for your support. Please share, please subscribe, and keep subscribing. Share the videos. As much as I love it to be about me, it's about the information coming from my guests on the show. It's about different experiences, different perceptions. Please take from this whopping, mega over 2.5 hour chat I've had with Greg. Take from it anything that resonates with you. And if it doesn't, just put it to one side. It's okay. And please remember, it doesn't matter if it matters. But really think about that statement I just said. It
No, that was
doesn't
deep too.
matter, yeah, comma, if it matters. So I'm Gloria.
Wow.
This is Open Minds live chat show. Until the next time. Bye, guys.
Bye, everybody.